I want to encourage you to step out of your blah, 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 blah. I'm stepping out of my comfort zone right there, right? Because I'm not going to edit that. I'm not going to edit that. Hey, listen, on this episode of the Riderflex podcast, I want to encourage you to step out of your comfort zone and go through doorways that you might not normally go through. See what happens. I want to share a story with you. Now, I know I'm always sharing, like, for those of you that listen to me on a regular basis, I'm always like tying analogies or comparisons into camping or my wife or something that I like to do, hobbies. Here's another one. Stepped out of my comfort zone, and I want to tell you how it created business for me and helped me personally. I may have told this story on a previous episode, but I want to go over it one more time. So it was a long time ago when I shared this story, so maybe it'll be fresh for most of you. I was camping in the mountains by myself, which I love doing. I love going up to the mountains by myself in my Jeep and finding a spot out in the wilderness in the middle of nowhere and setting up camp away from every other human being on the planet. I love doing that. It's a big thing for me. I don't want to go into all the details why, but it's mentally, physically healthy for me. That's one of my hobbies. The point of this episode is this. I'm always trying to get away from people. Like, I do not want to be around people when I go to the mountains. That is my escape. Those are my weekends where I can disconnect, turn off everything, turn off my phone, get away from the laptop, get away from the podcast, and just be in nature and not be around human beings. So I'm up in the mountains. I'm on this trip. It was early spring. And if you're familiar with any mountains across the country in early spring, there's usually still snow, and it's hard to get on certain paths or certain roads. Sure enough, it was like that. Many of the roads were blocked. I actually found one that I could get up in my Jeep a little bit and kind of get back in there away from everybody. But there was nothing else around. I mean, it was one of the very few spots where the snow had melted off in this particular mountain range where there was some forest roads. Most everything was blocked, but I did find a spot. I got set up. A couple of hours after I'm set up, these 3 trucks come up the road. Now I hear them coming up the road because it's a forest road. It's the middle of nowhere. I hear them coming. I'm sitting there, right? I'm actually sitting by the campfire holding a beer. And snow around and stuff. These 3 trucks come up, and now I know when I hear the trucks, I already know they can't go much further than where I'm at on this particular road because the snow is blocked. I've already been up it. I already tried to go up it. They can't go any further. So when I hear them coming, I'm thinking, okay, they're going to have to turn around and go back because the road's blocked, and I didn't see any other place to kind of pull over and camp in this particular area. It was a wooded forest area, and I didn't see any place else for them to go. So I'm thinking, well, these guys are going to come up here and turn around. They get up there, they kind of park on the road out in front of my camp, and they get out of their trucks. They're walking up the snowy road that's blocked, and I can tell they're trying to figure out the situation. They're walking up there to see if they can get up the road. I know what they're doing. They're walking around the corner to see if it's blocked, to see how bad it is, whatever. I'm just sitting there drinking my beer. I'm thinking to myself, you ain't going nowhere because I've already seen that road. Anyway, they come walking back to their trucks. The leader of the group, I think there was 6 of them, right? Pretty sure 6 guys altogether, 3 trucks. The leader of the group, he comes walking over to my camp. I just assumed it was the leader because he's the only one that had balls enough to walk over to where I was at. Anyway, he goes walking over and he goes, hey, yeah, you camping here? And I said, yeah. Did you see my stuff set up? Right. No, I didn't say that part, but I was like, yeah, I sure am. He goes, oh, yeah, this is a Friday. This is a Friday afternoon. He goes, you going to be here all weekend? And I said, yep, sure am. He kind of lowers his head. He's like, okay, yeah. He goes, yeah, we've been all around. Most of these roads are still blocked with snow. There's not really many spots around. I say, yeah, I know. I saw that myself. And he's kind of bumming out. His shoulders are kind of shrugged over. I'm sitting there in my lawn chair with my beer by the fire. He goes, well, this spot you're in, this is, man, me and my buddies, this is usually a spot we always camp in, this is kind of our annual trip. I said, well, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. He's like, okay, well, I guess we'll head on out. And I said, all right, see you later. And so he turned around. He starts walking back to his truck. I get up from my chair. I was like, hey, man. I said, listen, now at this point, his buddies are kind of like behind him, right? So they can all hear me now. I said, look, if you guys want to camp here with me, you can camp here. Oh my God. You would have thought they won the lottery. Like they all just like, oh yeah. They're all just going crazy. Oh my God. Thank you so much. It's so awesome. They come over, give me a high five, shake my hand, and they introduce themselves. They're all super happy. I'm not super happy. I'm thinking, what the hell did I just do? Like, what did I do that for? I came all the way up here, 4-hour trip to get up the mountains in the middle of nowhere, find myself a great spot. And then I letting these guys camp here with me. Like what I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, why did I do that? I'm having this moment of regret, right? Woo. Anyway, here's the deal. These guys are all like early 30s. I'm in my 50s. Okay. So they party a little bit more than I do. So, man, they got wild. They set up their tents. They got out the booze, the cannabis, the whiskey. They had guns, knives, camping, mountain stuff, right? They were just going nuts, bow and arrows, practicing, they were just, they were going crazy. I think just playing music, and one of these young kids, he comes over to me, he puts his arm around me and he says, he goes, hey man, he goes, we're probably being a little loud for you, huh? And I said, well, he goes, look, he's like, come over by the campfire with us. He's like, I got some bourbon here. I'll share it with you. I said, okay. I said, okay, cool. So he comes over and he goes, we sat down. He goes, you probably don't like this music, huh? And I said, no, not really. He goes, I'm going to change it for you. So he changes it to classic rock because he figures I'm old and I like classic rock, which was good. I like the music a lot better. Make a long story short, even though they were wild and crazy and I never liked being around people in the mountains, I actually ended up having a great time. Like it's like, well, screw it. I'm here. They're here. It is what it is. I'm trapped in this camping spot. I can't go anywhere. I'm just going to have a good time. So I ended up throwing down with these young men. So I had a great time. Whew, I didn't feel so good the next morning, but great time that night. Had a wonderful time. Here's the point of the story. They were plumbers. They're all plumbers. They got together once a year. This is their thing, right? Got to know them, exchanged cards, got to know one of the guys, ends up doing free plumbing work at my house. Like months later, I needed a plumber and he comes over and he just takes care of it for me. Doesn't charge me anything. And we actually needed to do some recruiting as a recruiting firm for plumbers. And so now I had contacts that were plumbers. It opened doors for me. I stepped out of my comfort zone, ended up having a great time, and ended up getting some business from it, ended up getting some free help from it. And I helped those guys and they had a great time and I felt good about it. I felt good that I helped them and I did them a favor. So point of all of this is step out of your comfort zone every once in a while. You never know what good things it'll do for you. And there is your Riderflex tip of the day.